Hey everybody, today let's do something different. So in celebration of Pride Week, I wanted to give y'all a tour of the LGBTQIA plus library here at UBC because it's run by volunteers and because I have a card for it and because it's pretty wicked cool. So I was very fortunate in that I got to sit down with one of the volunteers who is sitting there on this beautiful Saturday and ask them a few questions. And they were super kind enough to let me actually see what's going on and give me some of their perspective from the library. So let's have a look.
Honestly, it's pretty quiet here volunteering on the weekends, but it is like something I really look forward to. Like I have a really busy week, but then like I know like Saturday I have like my shift at the library. I come here, like I do a couple things on the computer, and then like I kind of just grab any book I see and go. So like I think so far during my shifts I've read like 7 or 8 books that I like probably would never get the chance to like pick up otherwise. So I think I found out about Out on the Shelves through Facebook. I just saw like a random kind of like someone I knew was attending the event, and I thought, oh, well, I'm really interested in library studies. I'm really interested in being queer. And to combine those kinds of things, I was like, I have to go to this opening party. This library had been in the nest for a while, but hadn't actually like made a huge announcement that they have moved there. So I thought, like, what's a better opportunity to come check it out when like there's gonna be food and like games, stuff like that. So kind of from there, I noticed like they weren't open on weekends, but weekends were kind of the only day I'm able to make it out to UBC. So from there, I asked Casey, one of the co-coordinators, along with Cinders, are you accepting volunteers right now? Like, I'd love to help out. And she actually said that, yeah, we were dying for someone to come volunteer on weekends. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of how I started.
Nice.
At the party.
Cool. Was that the grand opening party?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's been like an awesome experience. I like working with the other volunteers and meeting the other volunteers, as in like other queer people who are interested in like library stuff and book stuff. Like, it's been sweet just like talking and collaborating and, well, honestly, like just making new friends.
Would you say that Out on the Shelves has affected your ability to find queer lit and books and things?
Oh yeah, like it's all just in one space. It's and like just along with the values of the space, like the kind of like values and mission statement of being like an anti-oppressive library as well as a queer library. Like I think that's really helped in like choosing the books I want to read. Like my past experience with libraries has been like, oh, there will be like a little pride section, and like most of the books will have like maybe one queer character, and they're usually like a gay man or like a lesbian, but like nothing really else besides that. And it's representation that comes from like authors that probably don't identify as queer. Like it's been a really limited experience for me. So to be in like a space where like you kind of know like a book that you pick up will be like good, you know, like really great representation. I think it's awesome that this place exists. Yeah.
What have you read recently that stood out?
Oh, well, actually Hannah's got the book right now. It's Two Spirit Acts, so that's queer indigenous performances. So it's I think of like an anthology of 5 plays, all by like authors and artists who like identify as two-spirit and like other kind of aspects of being queer. It's all like really like unique performances, like stuff that's performed, like traveling performances, stuff that's like for schools, like meant to be performed for high schoolers. The other kind of like 3 plays in the middle are by a drag queen named Mischief, who like kind of subversifies like our current extent understanding of like what it means to be indigenous or like what their lives are like. Like he does this one play where he's like Mischief and he's doing a seance where he brings back like colonial like artists who like used to like paint like indigenous people or like write about them, and he kind of like interviews them and they go on long rants and like sound, well, really really bad for one. That really stood out to me. Like I actually have never read anything by like a queer or two-spirit like person before, so to see like their work highlighted all in one book, that was a really awesome find. Yeah, we're doing like a little display over in the library that highlights, it's both Pride Month and Indigenous History Month right now, so we're kind of like merging the two together for our library display. I guess I was always kind of interested in like well, like, yeah, I would like go to the library, I'd like go to this specific section to like find a book I wanted. But I think when I started volunteering here and we kind of like did our orientation, I never really thought about like how they choose categories, who makes the categories, and like who decides like what goes in what section or whatever. Like Casey actually was telling me about how they wanted to, there's a movement to kind of redefine a lot of the categories that have to do with LGBTQ, because a lot of them are really like generalized, kind of homophobic, kind of transphobic, and use like very colonial identities that don't really match some of the books that are in the library. And I've never thought about that before. Like, as soon as she said it, I knew what she was talking about, but I never thought that it could be wrong, you know, like the systems. Yeah, so that kind of changed my perspective in a tiny way. It's cool here.
Yes.
That's all I can really think of. I hope it can like really expand in the future. Like yeah, we're in this space, and like it's had a really long history of starting in like someone's basement, really, and being in a couple boxes, to like having shelves and like having books and categories on the wall. I can only hope it just like grows bigger and bigger. Maybe gets its own permanent like building, right? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it grow.
Alright, y'all, and it wouldn't be a video of me talking about books without giving a book recommendation, so I wanted to recommend this excellent anthology. It's called Freedom in This Village, compiled by E. Lynn Harris. So basically what this book is it's a compilation of short stories by black men who were alive during the 70s and 80s. It is really powerful and super important because, like, as a white man, I don't really have any experience of what it's like being black, especially not being black and queer, where there's a certain element of intersectionality there that I can't experience. And so reading through it and getting a feel for what people felt and what people experienced is super important. And so if you notice, it's got one of those little barcode stickers because I donated this book to the library. I only need to read it once, and I think other people should have exposure to it as well, which is why it's in the library now. Plus, I mean, it's in the library, so if I want to read it again, I can always come back. Yeah. And then besides that, I think I have another book at home that I'll recommend. If I do, it'll appear here through the magic of editing. Hey y'all, so I mentioned that there was another book I wanted to recommend, and it is this one, The Mayor of Castro Street by Randy Schultz. This is an excellent book about the history of the Castro Street, and specifically Harvey Milk, who had become the unofficial mayor of Castro Street. He was a politician in San Francisco in the 60s, question mark, back when being gay was still not all that great, especially, or not just in San Francisco. And explain some of the history behind why the Castro became what the Castro is, which is fabulous. So if you have a chance, track this book down. Again, I'll put a link to it as well in the description, to its biblioguide, or I'll put a link to its WorldCat entry so that you can find a copy near you. Okay, bye.